There's an absolute scandal with the Nara Smith Marc Jacobs ad that I cannot believe the traditional media has not learned yet. So the traditional media is still reporting on this ad, much like this Vogue business article. It says, mix flour, eggs, water, and red food dye, and you get a Marc Jacobs tote bag. The brand recently tapped model and content creator Nara Smith to make a mini tote in Smith's typical video format, which has now been viewed 13.7 million times at the time of publishing. It has generated almost $1 million in media impact value on TikTok and more than $250,000 on Instagram in the first 48 hours of publishing. As a result, she's changing what it means to be a successful creator. How can brands get involved? Two really key updates here. So the small update is it's down there. It's up to 15 million views, which as you can see compared to the videos before at 130,000, 120,000. It seems like a great collaboration, but here's where the scandal comes in. I want you to watch this next video with me. This is a creator called Mary Corlin Downs, and this is the video that she made last December. She did it in exchange for the tote bag being gifted. The exact same video. Here's the thing. I actually have a client who's an IP attorney, and I understand that there's a lot of gray area around what is and isn't plagiarism on social media, whether everything is fair game once it's gone viral. But this creator, the original creator, actually made a video that said that what was kind of like stinging her more than anything was the fact that Marc Jacobs was being called a creative genius for this collab with Nara Smith. And everyone was saying, who's the creative agency who came up with this collaboration? And she's like, I came up with this idea in December. I made this video, me. And, you know, it was such a good idea that Marc Jacobs latched onto it, collaborated with Nara Smith, which was the right sort of brand influencer collaboration in the moment. But it was her idea. And I talk about all the time why it's so important to have someone on your team who's on TikTok. You can't be on TikTok and miss the original creator, who, by the way, is being tagged in the video repeatedly, talking about the fact that this was her concept. So here, the traditional media is just talking about the incredible earned media value for Marc Jacobs and why this was so smart. But they're not deep diving into the TikTok subculture of it all, which is that this concept was stolen from a creator. Now, back when Cetaphil clearly stole their concept from that TikToker and her father, there was a viral video, and I learned a term, and I can't remember it specifically, but it's basically the idea that you do have IP over if someone takes like what is so clearly your exact concept, that it's not just inspiration, but it's clear that they took actually your creative concept. And when I look at this video, really 3 different verticals come up for me of like who needs to get it right. So first of all, Marc Jacobs, you literally partnered with this original creator and gifted her a bag. So you know that she came up with the concept. So first of all, I don't understand why you wouldn't just go the extra step of like crediting her with the concept, because when you watch her videos, all that she wants is recognition. Nara Smith, to protect your brand after the fiasco with Oneswa and the fact that there have already been claims that you steal other creators' content. By the way, I didn't weigh in on the Oneswa controversy. I didn't for a few different reasons. First of all, I try to be really mindful of where I insert my opinion. And the fact that, to me, as someone who specializes in content creation, I saw enough differential between sort of the farm to table style of Oneswa's content and the real focus on the ingredients and the sort of ASMR of the food versus Nara Smith's very breathy, very stylized, very voiced over throughout content. I didn't weigh in on that because I didn't feel that it was for me to weigh in on. But I know enough to know that all eyes are on her brand for whether or not she steals content. And so she needs someone on her team, even if the brand pitched her the idea, to research it and say, hey, is there someone who we can credit? Just like TikTok is an app that cares about credit. Like just that little choreography credit, that little DC is all people want. Like that little who came up with the choreography goes such a long way. And I keep saying that little because it's a low lift. Like, can you imagine if Marc Jacobs and Nara Smith had just dropped an Inspired By? None of this scandal would be happening right now. And then the third vertical of people who need to get it right is the traditional media. Listen, I love the fact that the traditional media is finally really paying attention to TikTok. It's super exciting for me and it's super exciting for my clients, because I used to say, like, if you post on something that's trending on TikTok, the traditional media will pick it up in 2 weeks. And now it can be in 2 days, which is really fun and really cool because TikTok just has its finger on the pulse. But imagine, if instead of me breaking this news for you, imagine if whoever was reporting it for Vogue Business had spent a little bit more time on TikTok and found out that this video and this concept that is making Marc Jacobs so much money actually originated from a different creator based on a gifted collab at the end of last year, and what that whole ecosystem looks like. So how can everyone make it right? I would love for Nara Smith to invite this creator whose idea, and again, I don't know if she took the idea, I don't know if Marc Jacobs sent her the idea in an influencer brief. She might have no knowledge that anyone else did this video, but I want her to invite this creator over to come bake with her for the afternoon. That's the thing, like, sometimes you can win when there's a PR disaster. You can come up with a concept that just makes it a win-win for everyone. Obviously, Nara Smith has a much bigger platform. I want her to invite this content creator over and for them to create some content together. And I think Marc Jacobs should pay them both. And I think it should just become like a win-win-win. Let me know what you think.